Hello, my friends, and welcome to Josie's Art School. I am Robin Norgren, and we are at episode number 200. That means that there are 200 art lessons here on this channel. Are you subscribed? Have you clicked the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a video? I do at least 2 to 3 art videos every week, so this will cover you anytime you're feeling the need to create. They are as long as 3 minutes to 30 minutes, so you can find anything that you need to just have that time to create and to just relax and just use it as a time of calm meditation, but also a time to make happy art. And that is what I'm here for. And I'm so glad you're here with me. So thank you so much for coming by. Today, we are going to be focusing on a pretty iconic sculpture here, but we're going to do it in a 2D fashion. But I would encourage you, if at all possible, if you have access to any sort of air dry clay or any sort of wire to create this as a sculpture as well. You could very easily do that, and I would encourage you to. And if you do, please make sure and tag me on Instagram under @Robin Norgren. All right, so let's get started. Episode number 200. The name of this artist, let me see if I can write it up here for you so you can see it. His name is Giacometti. Oh my goodness, Giacometti. And what you'll be using for this project, I am going to actually use, this is a 9x12 piece of paper that I'm using. It's a mixed media blend, so I will be using acrylic paint, but you can feel free to use anything that you have handy. I'm going to be using a sponge brush that I've just taken a typical household sponge and I've cut it up, but you can also use your standard sponge brush. Let me see if I have it here on my table. Baha! Here it is. You can use it in this fashion or you can cut it up as well. And these are actually really nice to have handy, especially if you don't have much time to paint and you want to get the colors on the page pretty quickly and really create something that's very satisfying to you. These are wonderful to use in a pinch. But what I'm going to be using, so in my example, I basically used black and white and I really wanted to stay in that, that neutral tone. But here I think I'm going to use a combination of red and white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use acrylic paint. I'm using an Apple Barrel brand, Snow White and Bright Red. And I'm just going to use my palette. I actually got these years ago from, it was like a school function and they were using it I want to say like they were doing some sort of like luncheon thing and these were left over, and man, these have been the best palettes for me to use. But when I'm going to use them, I'm going to kind of mix, but not too perfectly, just kind of dab my sponge in there. And then I'm just going to fill the background with that color. So again, it's just about getting some paint on the page so that I'm not feeling like I need to get things perfectly placed on the page. Because again, I am a person who really loves to just create for its own sake and not necessarily feel like I have to have it show ready, right? That this is just about our time together and your time just creating on the page, whether it is a first thing in the morning or maybe after a long day at school or at work. And let's not take our need to do something perfect to the place that's supposed to give us peace and relief, yeah? And so that's what I always encourage you to do, just to get something on the page super quickly. And then from there, if you want to tighten it up a bit, if you're one that really likes a more tight looking illustration, you can come back and do that, you know, later when you have more time, right? All right, so I've filled the background here with this red and white paint. And then from here, we're going to draw this figure. Now you can decide which way you want to draw it, either walking one way or walking the other or looking at you straight ahead. I'm going to use an oil pastel so that it's dark enough for you to see it on your screen. Yes, as I say that, I'm trying to find one. I think I'm going to have to use a black crayon. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and what I like to do when I'm drawing, is I do like to add a little grid. So I will draw a dashed line going down the middle, going both ways, and that gives me a sense of where I'm going to place everything. And then from there, I'm going to add the head. So the head kind of reminds me of like a bean shape. And again, you can decide if you want it to be facing one way versus the other. I have it facing towards the left. Okay. Actually, I want that to be a little darker for you to see it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use paint so you have a sense of what I'm doing. Yep. Let's just change it up on a pinch, right? All right, so here I am. I'm adding the bean shape right here. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to add the neck. And from here, you need to decide what you want the torso to be doing. If you want it to be looking straight ahead, or you want it to have more of a fluid movement or a dance sort of stance. So I'm going to draw that line at the top to close the line between the neck and the head. And then I'm going to actually put a bend in that line. So you can decide how thin or how thick you want his torso or her torso to be. And then close the line at the bottom once you make that choice. Now again, I'm using black paint so that you can see it on the screen. You can feel free to sketch this out and then change it as you see fit, or pause it and erase as you see fit. So then from there, I'm now going to draw the letter V, which kind of places where I want the legs to go. So you can either widen the V or make it thin. Okay. And then already you can see a little bit of movement in what I'm creating here, right? And you do the same thing with the arms. Obviously, the V is going to go in different directions. But it's in essence the same type, using a V but bending it in different ways. I already love how that looks so much. I hope you love how yours is too. You could also decide to add more than one on your painting. So again, this is up to you depending on what size of your paper you're using. I'm using a 9 by 12. So for me, if I wanted to do it, I'd probably have to make it a lot smaller here. Okay, so once you've decided how you want the arms and the legs to look, you can go ahead and add that parallel line. And do it both for the arms and the legs. And then you can decide if you want to add a little couplet for a hand. So I'd say kind of just a curved line on the end, or a curved circle on the end. And then the same thing for the legs, if you want to add sort of a boot shape to the legs. And then which direction you want them to go. So the way I've actually added the legs, the feet, the shoes, it kind of looks like he actually could be looking up in the air. So this is another choice that I can decide to make, is maybe he's facing this way after all. And that is what I love about just really trusting the creative process. Because I actually thought initially that I was going to make one identical to my example. But as I went along, and again, the glitches, right? You had to make sure you could see it on the screen. I just allowed myself to just be in that space of openness. And what I love is I actually went in another direction with this, and I really, truly love it, okay? I hope that you're feeling that same way on your side of the screen. All right, so from there, traditionally, if we're going back to what we're trying to emulate, which is Giacommetti's 3D sculpture, you would then go and paint this all in with a base color of black or gray, or let's say you're using red, you could do it in red as well, or you could leave it as is. And so as I'm looking at this, I actually really like it not painted in. But again, you can see the beauty in it being painted in as well. I guess for the sake of what we're trying to create, which is emulating the style of the 3D sculpture, I probably should go ahead and fill the rest of the space in with paint. So I will do that. I think the key to any sort of creative practice is being able to trust that everything that goes on your paper doesn't have to be so constructed fully in your brain before you get to the page. And that is where the magic happens. I don't know if you ever listen to biographies of painters or musicians, and when they say things, or even writers of like maybe your favorite books, and they say it really wrote itself, and you wonder how in the world can that be? Well, every once in a while, I hope that you experience this in your creative process where you actually can say, oh, I totally understand what they're talking about. You may not have done exactly what they've done, but if you just experience that little bit of magic on some level, there's something to be said about that. And I think that also encourages you to find that space of creativity and make that time in your life to have this creative expression so that you can connect with that piece inside of you. So anyway, here is my finished product process. And I hope you enjoy what you have created on your side of the screen. If you'd like to show me, I'd love to see it. So you can tag me on Instagram or on Facebook. All of my information is down in the description box. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to support the work that I do, because you have over 200 free videos here on YouTube, please come join me on my Patreon page and become one of my patrons. You can do that for at least $1 a month. Anyway, I'm so glad that you've come by. Hope you've enjoyed this process. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you back here soon. I do at least 2 videos every week. All right, see you later. Bye.